Think back to the 1st of January of this year. New Year's Day. How many things did you tell yourself that you were going to do this year? How many things did you say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to accomplish this, and this? How many of those things are you still doing? How many of those things have you accomplished? And how many of those things have you just thrown in the garbage? If you're an ambitious person, if you've got big goals, the number one thing that you're going to need is consistency. You're going to need to take primary actions on a consistent basis because these actions are the catalyst for the results you're going to achieve. If you cannot be consistent, then there are very, very few things you're going to actually be able to get done. The first reason why you're probably struggling with inconsistency is you have low standards for yourself. If you're trying to be consistent, if you're trying to do things over a long period of time, it means you're going to have to work through periods of low motivation levels. It's very easy to set big goals on the 1st of January, and it's very easy to follow through with them for the first week, for the first 2 weeks. But what happens in February? What happens in March? What happens in April? These are the periods of time where you no longer have that motivation. You no longer have that surge of energy, that momentum that you had from starting off and just getting started. You're now at the point where you realize, this takes a lot longer than I thought, and it's a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. And when we no longer have the momentum pushing us, we're going to fall to the level of our standards. And the question is, what is the level of your standards? Because if the level of your standards is a level that you would not do anything, that you would not work towards your goals, that you would not do the things you're supposed to do, then you are not going to be able to achieve anything in the long term. If your standards are at its very minimum, I wake up, I scroll my phone, I don't really do any work, I eat terribly, I don't exercise, I don't do anything I'm supposed to do. That's the level of your standards at its minimum, at its baseline. It is guaranteed that you will not be able to be consistent because there is a guarantee, and that is that you will not always have motivation. So if you don't have that motivation, you're going to fall to the level of that standard. If we don't learn to raise these standards, to have a standard that at the very minimum, I'm falling forward, at the very, very worst day, I'm still falling forward in some way, then you're just going to go backwards. The progress that you make over the course of the year is not determined by what you did in January. It's not determined by what you did in a few months. It's determined by what you did on average across the course of the year. And on average, you're not going to be super motivated. On average, your level is going to be at your standards. And if your standards are super low, then you're not going to move forward. You're not going to move towards your goals. So the number one thing we have to realize is if I truly want to be consistent, if I truly want to make long-term progress, then what I need to do is I need to be constantly taking the actions that are required to get me towards my goals, which means that these actions need to be my standards. They're not what I do when I'm motivated, they're what I do regardless. On my worst days, what am I doing? Not on my best days, what am I doing? Everyone has their best days where they're just 10 out of 10 productive and they do everything in the world. But what do your worst days look like? Your worst days are the days that really count because the average is the average. It's not about the peaks, it's about the average. Whatever your goal may be, you need to set yourself a standard, a very, very bare minimum that you cannot fall below. Because if you cannot fall below that standard, then you cannot move backwards. As long as that action, as long as what you're doing is moving you in some way towards your goals, then you're constantly falling forward. You're constantly moving forward in some way, even on your worst days. And if you create an environment where on your worst days you're still moving forward, you will be unstoppable because you've unlocked that trait of consistency. And if you unlock the trait of consistency, then you can unlock the effects of long-term compounding results that you cannot achieve if you're only relying on really good days and willpower and feeling amazing and just getting a burst of energy and having 1 week or 1 month where you get good results. If you truly want to make these long-term results, it has to happen by improving the standards, improving the bottom, because the bottom is where the character is made. What do you do on your worst days? Second reason you might be struggling with inconsistency is you're constantly rewarding yourself for instant gratification. On a day-to-day basis, if you're constantly scrolling your phone, if you're constantly playing video games, binge watching TV shows, doing things that are really easy but feel really nice, then what you're doing is you're providing and flooding your brain with a huge amount of dopamine, a huge amount of positive sentiment, good feelings for doing really easy things that are easy to do and feel really good. You're rewarding yourself for this instant gratification. These things that require zero effort to do and don't move you in any way towards your goals. You're rewarding your brain for that constantly. So then when you go, all right, it's time for me to actually do a difficult thing that's moving me towards my big objective, how likely are you to want to do that? If throughout the day you've constantly just gone, let me just do these nice things, let me do these things that feel really good, it's going to be very, very hard for you to want to do difficult things that are moving you towards your goals, because your brain is constantly anchoring towards that easy and fun thing. You don't want to work on your business. You don't want to work out. You don't want to improve your character in some way when you have these really easy, fun things to do. Why would I do a hard thing that doesn't feel so good when I have an easy thing that feels really good? And most of us have been spending the last decade ruthlessly training instant gratification, ruthlessly training these impulsive things. And if you're ruthlessly training impulsive activities, if you're ruthlessly training instant gratification, and then you go, all right, let me be consistent, what do you think your brain is going to do? It's going to go, but everything that we work towards is the opposite. Everything we work towards is doing easy things that feel really good in the moment. Why would I do hard things that don't feel so good in the moment that move me towards my goals, when all I've done throughout my life is easy things that feel good? Instant gratification is the enemy of consistency. Most likely, consistency requires delayed gratification. It requires taking primary actions that don't feel so good in the moment, but are going to yield big results in the long term. This is fundamentally what consistency would be. But if you're constantly training instant gratification, you're training the exact opposite. You're training your brain to associate positive feelings with the exact opposite of what we're trying to do. If my goal is to build a business that provides me time, location, financial freedom, and to do that, I'm required to sit down for 4 hours every day and just get to work. But everything I do around that is instant gratification. Everything I do around that is scrolling my phone, it's playing video games, it's watching TV, it's just doing all of these instant gratification activities. Then what do you think is going to happen? Well, you're probably going to sit down in front of your laptop and you're probably going to want to maybe check my phone, maybe open up a new tab and go on YouTube. Maybe I want to start playing some video games. There's going to be a lot of draws away from doing the task that you're trying to do. A lot of forces pulling you away from doing the primary action that's trying to move you towards your goal. And if you have 3 or 4 forces that are pulling you away from the primary action that moves you towards your goal, pulls you away from being consistent, that is going to be really hard to be consistent, because maybe you can do it while you have the motivation. But what happens when the motivation isn't there? What happens when you're a little bit tired, when you're really not feeling like doing it? Those temptations are going to pile up, they're going to add up, and eventually you're going to crumble. And if you require consistency to hit a big goal, then good luck doing it when you have a lot of forces pulling you away from the activity you're trying to do. And these forces are generally the instant gratification, the easy things that feel really good. And because we've trained our brain to desire and crave this instant gratification, it makes it so hard to just sit down, do the primary actions, be consistent to get us towards those goals. The third reason you're probably struggling with inconsistency is because you have an information overload. You're receiving so much information from so many different sources, so much advice, so many things that you could be doing, that you sit down at the start of the year and you have this plan, you have all these actions you're supposed to do, and then you have 50 people telling you other ways you can do it, other methods that you can use, and you start questioning what you're doing. And when you start questioning, you start getting that analysis paralysis, you start changing the primary actions, and it starts pulling you off course. If you set yourself a big goal and you said, okay, these are the actions that I have to take on a regular basis. If I can take these actions consistently, then it would be unlikely, it would be unrealistic that I will not achieve my goal. And you just did those actions, you didn't listen to anyone or anything, you just did them, you would probably achieve your goal. However, if you set yourself that exact same list of actions, and then over the course of the next week, few weeks, months, you've received 50, 100, 1,000 different pieces of advice on how you could change it, how you can improve it, and you start going, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't do this, maybe I should do it a different way, and maybe I could probably change this way, and you end up switching and changing the actions over time. You end up just creating a completely different set of actions you have to do, and you no longer have that consistency. You lose the consistency because you're constantly changing. Oh, maybe I should change my niche. Maybe I should change this slightly. Maybe I should change my workout program. Maybe I should change my diet. And sure, maybe some of them are more optimal, maybe some of them are less optimal. But either way, you've now lost your consistency. You've now lost your momentum. If you had that list of things, maybe there were 7 out of 10 optimal, but you just did them over the course of the year, you didn't listen to anyone else, any other opinions, you just did them, you would probably achieve your goal. But if you sat down with that 7 out of 10 optimal set of activities that you had to do, and you changed them every few weeks, you probably won't achieve your goal. Because you're constantly changing, you're constantly doing this differently, you're constantly questioning what you're doing, you have no confidence, you have no faith. Most likely you're just gonna throw it in the bin and just quit. I would rather be 7 out of 10 optimal, but just do it over a long time, not question what I'm doing, have faith in the process and just get it done, than to have a 9 out of 10 optimal thing that I'm constantly tweaking and constantly changing and constantly questioning what I'm doing and just not have the consistency and fall off and fail. And this is what most of us are doing. How many of us have changed our niche 50 times? How many of us have changed our workout program, changed our diet? Rather than just sticking to one thing and just doing it for a long enough period of time or it would be unreasonable to not achieve our results, we just keep changing. We just keep moving around and changing and changing and changing and changing. And we never have consistency and we never get any damn results. We have too many people in our ears telling us different things, different ways, different methods. And sure, all of them individually may work, but they only work if you can do them over a long period of time consistently. They don't work if you keep jumping ship and switching around here and here and here and here and here. If we don't have this consistency, then nothing is gonna work. So that being said, how do we actually become consistent? How do we get rid of all this instant gratification? How do we set ourselves high standards? How do we get rid of all of these voices, all of these people in our ears yapping at us, telling us what to do? Well, fundamentally, the best way we can do this is through dopamine rewiring. It is through removing the online entertainment. Because what happens when we remove the online entertainment? Well, we now remove all of those voices. We now remove all of those people that are giving us this fantastic advice. We now remove all of the instant gratification, which now makes it incredibly easy to do the activities that are required to get us towards our goals, because we no longer have that anchor of the thing that feels really good but is not very difficult. Now, the things that feel really good, the things that we enjoy doing, are the primary actions that are moving us towards our goals. And what happens when the things that feel really good are the primary actions that move us towards our goals, when we don't have any online entertainment in our lives, well, our standards have just gone through the roof. Your minimum, your baseline is now so much higher. It is so much easier for you to unlock consistency when your minimum, your baseline is so incredibly high. You're constantly falling forwards. You're not relying on motivation because even your worst days move you towards your goals. You feel really good when you do the primary actions that are moving you towards your goals. You don't have 50 people telling you what to do, how you can change it, how you can be better, why you need to stop what you're doing right now and completely change it. In my opinion, consistency is the number one thing that's going to allow you to move towards big goals and actually accomplish them. So we need to get these obstacles, we need to get these hurdles out of our life so we can unlock the incredible benefits of compounding through consistency. Now, if you're interested in learning more about dopamine rewiring, you can join our free community. When you join, we'll set you up with a custom dopamine rewiring roadmap based on your goals, based on your current situation, and run through that with you. It is completely free. If you're interested in that, I'll leave a link in the description below. I hope this provided you with a different perspective on how you can achieve consistency. If you want to watch more videos like this, there's plenty more on this channel. There's probably a few around here somewhere. So I will see you in one of those.